Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to respond to one of the requests from a trader who asked me to demonstrate the Auto GS clicker again, but this time for the higher/lower trade with 10 ticks. That's exactly what I'll be showing you in this video. First, let's start by logging into your DRIP platform. Once you're in, navigate to Smart Trader. As you can see on my screen, navigate to this and have your settings ready, and I'll walk you through the process. For this demonstration, I'm using the Volatility 25 Index. The Volatility 25 Index is a great market for trading higher/lower contracts because it's known for its moderate price movements, making it easier to predict short-term trends. With its balanced volatility, you're not dealing with extreme ups and downs, which means more consistent opportunities for profit. After identifying your choice of volatility, come to the trade type and choose contract type. Higher/lower. Now, let's move on to the core of this setup. I've been asked to trade 10 ticks, so I'll set my ticks to exactly that. Make sure your contract type is set to higher/lower. This is critical because we're focusing on these contracts today. As I mentioned before, especially for beginners, it's important to add a barrier offset when you log in. This helps give you some breathing room in your trades. So, as an example, last time I said, if you're setting your barrier, add 0.20. Like here, when I apply that, the barrier becomes 0.527, as you can see on the screen. But now in this case, it will be different as we get into the actual trading, and I will tell you why. Trading using the Auto GS clicker, you don't have to use this barrier, but for now, let's proceed. Adjusting this barrier ensures you get the right risk-reward balance. For the stake, I'm using $500. Remember, you can adjust this according to your trading strategy or risk management plan. Duplicate your trading window. Next, here's a pro tip that's key to this strategy. You'll need to duplicate the trading window so you can trade on two fronts. At the top corner of your screen, you can easily duplicate your current window. So, after duplicating, you'll have two identical windows lined up. Align them side by side, just as I've done. Now, this part is really important. Make sure that both windows are identical in all aspects except for one. This is where the magic happens. In one of the windows, the left one, we will set a positive barrier. And in the second window, the right one, we'll set a negative barrier. This creates a balanced approach where you're simultaneously targeting both directions, higher and lower, giving your trades more flexibility. At this point, I hope you're all following. If you're setting things up correctly, the windows should mirror each other except for the barrier adjustment. Now, this setup can improve your chances in specific market conditions. With both windows ready, now it's time to activate the Auto GS clicker. The clicker will manage your entries, ensuring that you don't have to manually intervene. As I mentioned earlier, you can download the Auto GS clicker from your web like I am doing here with Chrome browser. The more explanation is shared in the previous video. But for the sake of new people, let me repeat again. And if you haven't watched that yet, be sure to check it out so you know the strategy I gave out there since this is a new strategy. Before you use the clicker on a real account, it's important to test everything on a demo account. This ensures you're comfortable with how the tool works and that it's executing your trades as expected. Always better to practice first. Now, make sure you download the GS clicker as I am doing and follow all the instructions so as to fully launch the application in your system. With that, as we await the clicker to complete downloading, let's dive in first back to how to pick trades using the strategy, which is key to maximizing your chances of profit. Once we have the two windows set up, one with a positive barrier on the left and the other with a negative barrier on the right, here's how to approach the trades. On the left side, positive barrier. We're going to pick the trade with the highest payout for a higher purchase. The idea here is that we are betting the market will go higher, and we're looking for the payout with the best return. On the right side, negative barrier. Similarly, on this side, we will pick the trade with the highest payout, but this time for a lower purchase. This trade is based on the expectation that the market will go lower. By selecting the trades with the highest payouts in both windows, we're optimizing the potential profit. The key idea behind this setup is that you are covering both directions, higher and lower. This means that if the market moves in one direction and you lose on one side, you'll likely win on the other side. Now, here's where the magic happens. The difference between the highest payout from the winning side and the stake you place on both trades is your profit. So, even though one trade might lose, the winning trade, with its high payout, covers that loss and still leaves you with a profit margin. Example, let's say you place $500 on each trade. If you win on the higher side with a payout of $3,766 and lose the lower trade, your profit would be $3,766 payout. $1,000 for both entries stake equals $2,766 profit. This way, you're managing your risk by balancing both sides while aiming for the highest payout on each trade. Key points to remember. Always compare the payouts before executing the trade to ensure you're getting the maximum return. This strategy relies on the market's short-term fluctuations, so make sure to monitor the volatility and adjust the tick settings if necessary. I hope that explanation makes sense. By using the Auto GS clicker in this payout strategy, you will be in a strong position to maximize your profits. Now I see the GS Auto clicker is download, so click on the OK button, and it will lead you to such a page. Follow the setup instructions as I am doing. Run the application until it is fully downloaded. So let's wait for this one to be fully downloaded and installed, and we proceed into how to pick trades and ensure that the GS Auto clicker is well set not to have any confusion. Awesome, it's now fully downloaded. What you do next is the setup. But first you can opt to pin the Auto GS clicker on this tab, instead of wasting much time looking for it in the other directories. Pin it here. It's crucial to ensure the single-click settings are configured properly. This allows the clicker to execute one trade per action, which is important for precision. In the settings, make sure you've selected the option for single-click per execution to avoid multiple trades being placed at once. And proceed to the options. Tab then to the clicking area, ensure the left and single are all aligned as mine. Then for the freeze, the pointer is highlighted as mine. Then proceed to the recording tab, and here you choose the multiple clicks as I will show you how to do it. So when you find maybe you can spot a certain number of picks, as you can see, please clear that, and this helps prevent errors and ensures that the clicker only activates once per signal. When you set it so clear and set yours, but before that, trading with the Auto GS clicker means relying on precision. And that precision comes from setting everything up correctly. Close check. All settings to resemble mine, especially on the repeat part. This is where it gets super important. The repeat setting. If you get this wrong, the Auto GS clicker won't function correctly and may execute trades too frequently or not frequently enough. Ensure that the repeat setting is exactly like mine. This means setting it to trigger after every trade completes, with no overlap or skip trades. The clicker should act based on the exact tick data we've configured. Even a minor error here could cause the clicker to miss trades or double up, which could lead to unnecessary losses. And finally, click OK when done, and we dive into taking the trades now. So I will now click the Options tab once again, then followed by the Recording tab, and then to the multiple clicks, and here I will click on the pick point, and immediately I will dive back to the chart and click the side with the highest payout as I told you. So I click higher and then return back to recording, and the multiple clicks tap the pick point once again, and they became two of them, and move to opposite lower part with the highest payout. I hope you can see my movement, and finally click. Okay, let's now wait for the magic to happen. Remember, I told you on one side we expect a profit, and on the other side we expect a loss, and we hope to get a massive profit. And without further ado, I can see the movement of the 10 ticks moving very well in a systematic way, and there, boom, we have our results, one side with a profit, and while the other side with a loss. By doing a quick math, you can see what have make 2,666 and above USD. We began with 10,000 and we are up. This is the power of Auto GS clicker. However, remember I talked of not using this barrier, so this is more risky while using Auto GS clicker. So I will place the positive side with plus 0.1 and negative side on right with minus 0.1. Here are the reasons. And my work now is tapping letter B as the clicker tells me. I want to take a moment to explain why I advocate people or traders to use barrier plus zero point 0.1 on the left side for the higher trade, and minus zero point 0.1 on the right side for the lower trade, rather than this one we have used of 0.527, as I had said in the other video of trading higher/lower. That was trading manually without the help of Auto GS Clicker, but here in that we are using the clicker say no to that barrier and use 0.1 either positive and negative on either sides. These values work so well. We'll dive deep into the advantages of using plus 0.1 and minus 0.1 barriers, why I recommend them for Auto GS Clicker trades, and throw in some practical tips, a few jokes to keep it light, and of course, some important cautions. As you can see on the screen, I've set the barrier to plus 0.1 on the left side for the higher trade, and minus 0.1 on the right side for the lower trade. And let's trading using them. Talking about barriers, specifically plus 0.1 and minus 0.1. Now, you might be asking, why these particular values? You see, the choice of barriers plays a crucial role in how effective the strategy will be. I'm going to break it down into easy-to-understand chunks, so that by the end of this, you'll know exactly why these barriers are the sweet spot for our setup. When it comes to trading, especially high-frequency trading like we're doing here, risk management is key. You don't want to expose yourself to wild market swings, especially if you're using an automated tool like the Auto GS Clicker. Using plus 0.1 and minus 0.1 barriers gives you a tight range to work with, which means the price only needs to move a little bit in either direction for the trade to be triggered. This makes it a great choice for short tick intervals like 10 ticks, which is what we're focusing on. Here's the thing. When you're trading in these tiny intervals, the market doesn't have to move drastically to trigger your trades. With a smaller barrier, you're essentially minimizing your exposure to unnecessary risks. Think of it as navigating through traffic. Would you rather be driving through a busy intersection with a bunch of cars speeding around, or through a small, controlled area where you know the next light is just around the corner? Smaller barriers give you that control and predictability. One of the beauties of using narrow barriers like plus 0.1 and minus 0.1 is that it allows you to get quicker results. The smaller the barrier, the less movement is required from the market to hit your target. This makes it possible to enter and exit trades faster, which is particularly important when you're using a tool like the Auto GS Clicker that operates at high speeds. Imagine you're a sprinter running a 100-meter dash. Would you rather compete in a short, straight race where you can finish fast and grab the prize, or a marathon where you might be running for hours before seeing any result? With plus 0.1 and minus 0.1, you're in the sprinter's lane, small wins, fast payouts, over and over again. It's all about capitalizing on minor price movements, and that's what makes the setup so effective. With the Auto GS Clicker taking care of your entries, you don't have to worry about missing opportunities due to manual delays. It's like having a highly efficient assistant that never gets tired. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on it because, like any assistant, it can make mistakes if left unsupervised, but we'll get to that later. One of the common issues with using an automated tool like the Auto GS Clicker is the timing of the trades. The clicker works by rapidly executing trades, but sometimes it might pick a trade a tick behind on one side. This can result in losses on both sides if one window lags or one trade doesn't go through exactly at the right moment. For example, let's say your higher trade on the left triggers right on time, but your lower trade on the right side gets picked a moment too late, like the one you are seeing on the screen. Currently, that's what I'm talking about after the market has already moved. That's how you end up with losses on both sides. It's a small window of error, but in high-frequency trading, even a split second can make all the difference. So, why do I recommend plus 0.1 and minus 0.1 barriers for Auto GS Clicker trades? Simply put, they offer the best combination of speed, reliability, and risk management. You're getting into and out of trades quickly with minimal risk, and you're stacking up small wins consistently. But again, remember, always keep an eye on your tool. Test it thoroughly on a demo account before going live, and make sure your market conditions support this strategy. That's it for this section of the video. I hope this in-depth look at plus 0.1 and minus 0.1 barriers has helped clarify why they're so effective for auto GS clicker trades. And as always, be smart, stay cautious, and let's keep those profits rolling in, as you can see me having consecutive profits. And don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next section where we'll get even deeper into optimizing the strategy.